great opportunity this Friday night. It'll be 12 seniors final home game. Thursday night's the Hall of Honor banquet, which will be a great festivity to honor all the individuals that will be there on Thursday night. And then having an opportunity to come and see those guys that those 12, a couple of them have opportunity to be here for another year because of the COVID year. That's yet to be determined. But it'll be a great opportunity against San Diego State. Kickoff is set for 7:55 with potential of a slide. So it's going to be 8 o'clock, 30-degree temperatures, which it's not bad. It's not supposed to be any wind. So come on out and enjoy a football game. This past Saturday, the weather up there in Colorado Springs was fantastic. Unfortunately, they were a lot better than us, obviously. We had opportunities in the first half. Now, the first third down, they blocked up a play really well. We didn't get off a couple blocks, and Hazik Daniels, who was dangerous, went down the sideline 70 yards for a touch, 65 yards for a touchdown. We had an opportunity to get off the field on that 3rd and 5 to start the game differently. Didn't do it. And then we went 3 and out on offense. And then the next drive, they have 4 third downs and a 4th down that they converted, and they were able to put it into the end zone. We had 3 more opportunities on offense after that, and we went 6 plays and did not score any points to make it a competitive football game. So obviously we're not good enough. I mean, everybody knows the tale of the story. We're not good enough on offense, but we weren't even good enough on offense to get in scoring position to close the gap without a turnover or a big-time special teams play. And they're smart special teams-wise. They pretty much eliminate special teams from the game. If you watch them, it's an interesting dynamic with the amount of time that they have to practice and stuff. I mean, when they punt the ball, their punter does a really nice job of hanging it up, so you don't get many opportunities to return. When they return punts, they make sure you don't fake it, and then they jog off the sideline and let their punt returner fair catch it. They fair catch kickoff returns. And they do a really good job covering kickoffs. When you kick it to the wind tunnel, it's usually out of the end zone. The other way, they're smart. They pop it up. So we didn't have an opportunity to get an advantage in special teams like we had been. And then, obviously, in the second half, they wore us down. If you don't stop the fullback, which we did not do successfully enough in the second half, especially, you're not going to have a chance to win that game if you can't score points to match them. And our offensive struggles, obviously, not being able to score in the second half of Wyoming, UNLV, Fresno, and then now going 10-10 or 9-9, 10-3 is the reason that we made a change. And it's what the future of our offense will look like will be. I mean, that's the difference between us being a competitive winning team and a competitive team. This Friday night against San Diego State, we'll have an opportunity to be a very competitive team and have a chance to win if we make enough plays and don't make critical errors. Now, they're doing a really nice job. Since they played Hawaii on October 2nd, they played at Boise State, and then they made a change in their offensive staff. Jeff Horton, their offensive coordinator, who I worked with for several years, has done a phenomenal job over the last 5 games, taking them from averaging 200 yards a game to almost 400. They scored 41 points against who I think might be the best defense in our league against San Jose State on Saturday night. Did some really nice things. And then there's 2 individuals on that team, Jordan Bird and Keyshawn Banks, who are from the Albuquerque metro area, one from Manzano High School and Keyshawn from Rio Rancho High School, who will have an opportunity to come in here. Jordan is their leading rusher. And Keyshawn is one of their best D linemen. And so they'll come play in front of family and friends, and the challenge will be to try and whoop their tail. And I'm friends with Brady Hoke, their head coach. Obviously have a great history with San Diego State, as well as Coach Long does. So it's a great opportunity to go against a bunch of the kids that we recruited. Most of them are seniors now that were left when we were there, and having an opportunity to compete against them. And Friday night will be fun. So I'll answer any questions that anybody might have. Go ahead, Brandon.
Air Force got to Justin quite a bit. Did he get dinged up at all? Is he going to be all right for this week?
The plan is for him to be all right. He got dinged up. Knee got dinged up a little bit. Had to burst a sack on it on Sunday. CJ took some reps in practice today. We're trying to keep him fresh. But the plan is for Justin to play.
What did you feel like he took away from that game? And just, trying to figure things out and just trying to get things going?
Opportunities. I mean, there was a couple opportunities late in the game. Now the game was already decided, But on like the very last drive, for instance, there's a 3rd and 5 where he's got a whole bunch of open grass in front of him, and he's trying to make a big, spectacular play. Instead of get the first down, get potentially down into their 20, 30-yard line, and then keep the drive going so that we have an opportunity to score instead of putting us in a 4th and 5 situation. That was an opportunity and gain with experience. Sitting in the pocket a little bit longer on a couple of opportunities where we actually had guys in the wideout position win one-on-ones, but he got a little gun shy, whether defensive lineman is pressing a running back and we don't get over there to chip soon enough. Now, there was a couple of them that we got outmanned in pass protection. A couple running backs that got beat, and he had no choice. He took a sack because he's trying to let them come open. A couple times they came open, and he decided to get out of the pocket because we haven't protected him that well. So getting him to recognize some of those things. Now, the guys that we're playing up front Friday night, Air Force is really, really disciplined and really, really good at what they do. So San Diego State, except they're a little bit bigger and faster and stronger. So there's a big challenge for our offensive line. Now, we'll get Shenko Matatuia back, Issei, which is our right guard, which will help significantly. We can put Ratzenjang back out at tight end. CJ will go back to center. And that was our most productive offensive line unit. So having all 5 of those guys, since we lost DJ Wingfield in game 1, having those 5 that will play together for the first time since UTEP will be a help, and it'll come at a good time because the guys that we're going against up front are not really good, Keyshawn included. Go ahead, Sam.
Coach, last 2 games of the year, any thoughts about going back to earlier on in the year you had a couple plays here and there for some of the other quarterbacks? Any thoughts on doing that the last 2 games, and why did you guys go away from that since Justin took over?
Justin, from right now, what I see is earn the opportunity to be the starting quarterback and build everything around him. The stuff that we were mixing in when Miles was our starting quarterback was some things that Miles wasn't really great at. I mean, the speed version of it that both CJ and Justin have over Miles. So creating that dynamic and now having Justin in there, he's able to do all those things. And I think he throws the ball well enough, and that was the idea behind giving those guys different packages to expand what we can do offensively. Well, Justin can do all those things. And so now if he's healthy, then he's just fine. If not, then we'd have to use CJ, and Miles is still ready to play. And so that was the idea behind that.
In the spring, in August at least, your offense practice against the defense, it's similar to what San Diego State. Does that help at all?
It does, a little bit. There's 2 philosophies to that, ideas behind that. They go against a very aggressive defense that gives them every single front all year long, so they should be able to handle multiple things. It's been a successful deal for us in the past because it's really good players going against really good players. The benefit of going against each other, the speed of things. So we did some of that this week. We did quite a bit of our first team offense against our first team defense, more so than we did last week, because of the similar look that they're going to get. Now, the disadvantage is our offenses aren't similar. There's minute things that we do the same, but the speed of our defense practicing against the speed of our offense is more beneficial than going against a scout team that doesn't even give you a similar look. Some offensive coaches in the past get frustrated from when Coach Long was the head coach here in San Diego State with seeing that defense every single day. But I think they're better for it. And, I mean, I can tell you one, Jeff Horton will agree. And he's seen it for the last 10 years. And so it'll be very similar to a spring practice situation from 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015 when we were there. During the spring, Coach Long was a mediator between the offense and defense. And so myself and Coach Horton went head-to-head every spring practice, and it was a whole lot of fun. And so he has a good feel for how I like to do things and how we do some things here. And I have a decent feel. Now, they've done some different things over the last 5 weeks, and what Jeff Horton has done in the last 5 weeks is pretty amazing, especially with the quarterback that was playing safety, and they moved him over to play quarterback and have gotten him in 5 games to do what he's been able to do and what he was able to do to San Jose State on Saturday night. Give Coach Horton a whole bunch of credit because it's very deserved. They're a lot better on offense. And I'm not saying anything bad about what happened before, but they're a lot better right now than they were at the beginning of the season. What else?
Is there something you think you're better at now than you were, say, when the season started? That you have to kind of convince the players, maybe not convince, but stress to the players that you're doing some things right that may not show up in the box score?
No, I think this is the most frustrating part of being a Lobo fan. Obviously, we're 2-8. The results that we've gotten on game day have not been in our favor at all. The opportunities that we've had playing in the fourth quarter and having opportunities being one-score games in multiple possessions of the football and not making enough plays is frustrating. We tried to force some plays, so then now the score looks lopsided because we throw a pick six or we fumble a ball. Those things, the credit to our football team that they're still fighting with everything that they're fighting in their effort, their attitude, and want to. And I know it gets frustrating, sounding like a broken record, but we've made progress as a football team. We haven't gotten the results that we want. And they're able to see that and understand that. That's why they're willing to fight. If you're going backwards and regressing, it's really hard to keep them involved. I mean, if you were outside today, the energy out there was going against each other was really, they were getting after each other. Part of it was because of the speed and the groups that were going against each other, the one offense and the one defense. Obviously, our kryptonite right now is offense. We're not good on offense. We're okay on defense. And if we could score points and move the ball and possess the ball, we'd be a lot better on defense. That's my responsibility, and that's why I made a change halfway through. And the change, the dynamic of hiring an offensive coordinator going into year 4 of this program, as opposed to hiring an offensive coordinator and starting a brand new program, it's not the same. There's expected results when you make a change at this point in the program. That the expected results are to win football games. It's not to come in and hire a guy that's going to have to adjust and learn. No, we've got pieces. We need to recruit some skill positions that will help us immediately. They're out there. You just have to find them, do a good job of evaluating them, and then we've got to coach them. And we've got to give them a schematic plan that every single week we make adjustments and we have opportunities to win games. When you have similar talent, it comes down to coaching. That's why a change was made, and that's the vision of this deal. I mean, we're a competitive football team. As lopsided as you see some of the scores and as frustrated as people get, we're still on the path of where to have a chance to compete for a conference championship. And when the offensive hire obviously will be very important because it's about scoring more than 25 to 30 points a game. And if you can get in the 40s, you're going to be really dang good on offense. And really, you'll be pretty dang good on defense, too, and you'll be good as a football team. I mean, if this football team could score 24 to 28 points, we'd have had an opportunity to win a whole bunch of games, and we haven't been able to do that. That's why that's the trajectory. So the kids, the attitude that they have to keep fighting has been unbelievable. And you'll see that attitude again on Friday night.
What have you seen in Heath during his time as the interim OC?
I think Heath has done a really good job managing what he stepped into. I think Heath is a really, really good football coach, and he's done a good job with the quarterbacks. I think he's done a nice job for what he was given. And, my opinion of him as a football coach has not changed.
But you are saying you will hire a new offensive coordinator next season. Are you saying that?
Heath is the interim offensive coordinator. All those things will go into evaluation, but most likely we'll have an offensive coordinator that's not here. I've already been talking to people, and I evaluate coaches just as I'm evaluated all the time. So the interesting thing about college football is you spend a lot of time on the road, especially as an assistant coach, around a lot of coaches. You recruit a lot of the same kids. You have areas. The coaching convention is pretty cool because you get to see a bunch of friends, and when you've done this and I've done it for almost 25 years, you make a lot of relationships with a lot of people. And I tell you what, ever since I made the change I get hundreds of text messages a week of guys interested in being an offensive coordinator. So, I mean, that's the nature of this business when there's only 130 schools.
Do you have an ideal timeline when you'd like to settle that decision?
Yes and no. There's going to be a lot of coaches that are still playing football games beyond when we finish playing. Evaluating and recruiting will be the biggest portion going forward through people finish playing football games. There's coaches that'll still be involved in playing football games. So that being said, I don't have an exact date, but it'll be done as quick as it can be based on who we're going to hire. What else?
Can you talk about Aaron Rodriguez, just how crucial he's been this season, and just with the Ray Guy Award and stuff?
Well, it's his third time being nominated for Ray's 8, which is pretty spectacular. 8 punts for a 43-yard average on Saturday. There's positives and negatives. I mean, obviously we're punting the ball way too much, but thank goodness we have a young man like Aaron that does a great job when he goes out there. And being that I am an old specialist and an old specialist coach, he gets a lot of positive criticism when he comes off the field, depending on what happened. And he's done a phenomenal job of handling that and not letting it affect him when it's frustrating. And I mean, I'm really proud of Aaron for what he's been able to do. It's why he's on scholarship. He was a walk-on here last year, and I thought he did a really nice job. I mean, he can change field position. The ones that don't go the way he wants them to, like the first punt against Utah State, he's able to recover from those, which there's a lot of kickers that have not been able to. And I think he's been actually really good for Luke. He's our holder on PAT field goals, and I think his confidence in what he does as a punter has really rubbed off on Luke as a kicker. And Luke, obviously, he's made 7 of his last 8 kicks. That's from where we were early on in the season, and that being as big of a problem as it was. Now, the other side of that problem is we're only kicking dang field goals. So, but I think Aaron has really helped do that portion of it. It's a good question, though. And go ahead. Who else?
Is that another area you feel like silver lining special teams is kind of emerged? Like certain guys like Aaron and Luke have kind of emerged as solid guys in those spots?
They have, and I mean 7 of the 9 games, and obviously that's not enough. 8 of the 10 games, and obviously it's not enough. We've outplayed people on special teams. The team that we have coming in this Friday night, Doug Deacon, their special teams coordinator, does a fantastic job. He is a protege of Bobby Houck, the head coach of Montana, and I think Bobby Houck is the best special teams guy I've ever been around. I think Deke follows in his footsteps real closely, so it's going to be a great challenge. I think the thing that bodes well is our young kids. We've got a lot of young players playing special teams that are getting valuable speed experience of the game. The Jamarius Lewises, the Bryson Taylors, all those true freshmen that are doing some really good things on special teams. I mean, that'll be an advantage for our program going forward, and I think he has rubbed off on that. Before anybody have any other questions? Really, I mean, I should have started it with this. Bronco Mendenhall is obviously a really good friend of mine. The things that happened, that transpired at Virginia as an athletic department, as a football program, and as a dear friend, our thoughts and prayers are for those families in a tragic incident that didn't need to happen. We're just praying that their hearts heal for what they're going through and what they're dealing with. Anytime a university, anytime anybody has to deal with that, it's tragic, it's horrific, and awful. We had a young man in our program, Jeff Blake, who was with our program in the spring of 21. He passed away 2 Mondays ago. I talked to his mother. He was living back in Georgia. He hadn't been a part of our program for about 6 months now. He was living back in Georgia, passed away last Monday. And my heart goes out to his mom and his sister and dad and everybody that knew Jeff. I mean, a great young man. Could be a knucklehead sometimes, but that's what made him who he was. And he passed away last Monday, so our condolences go out to his family also. I mean, obviously there's things that happen in life, and football is very, very important. It's what my lifestyle is and my family's lifestyle. But there's always the human side of life, and I mean, you got to be compassionate for people, and so, I mean, I'm praying for all those hearts to heal.